What's up guys, it's Daz here, but you don't really care, as it's time for another video. But what should the video be about? Well, remember 2 weeks ago, when you're gonna see this video at least anyway, 2 weeks ago I uploaded a video that was basically talking about 10 possible Pikmin types. You had the cyan, orange and green, which would be the extra ones on top of the ones that we already know about. Now, basically, this video is going to be going over that again, but it's going to be a specific message that I got, not surprising, from one of you guys again. And actually, this guy who sent me this message also was the guy who made the little paragraph at the end of the Pikmin wiki, which I made another video on. Did that make sense? Oh well, you can click the annotations things because I'm self-advertising again. Ha ha ha! Right, so basically, I'm going to go over this message and tell their idea about the 3 colours of Pikmin. That's basically it. So, please enjoy. Oh, by the way, this was made by ScrubbyBean. By the way, ScrubbyBean, you better take off your contact lock, otherwise I won't be able to message you. When I tried doing it 4 times, it didn't work. Alright, let's begin. Let's dive straight onto the orange Pikmin. No homo. So, they've basically been thinking about this type for a while, because this one seems to be the most hardest to think of, maybe, I think. I don't know, really. And so they've come up with a few abilities for what they could be. Did I say that right? First, they once thought that they would involve magma or lava, or in other words, hotter area than the red Pikmin that can enter. But then, this showed up. And after seeing this new magma slug enemy thing from the E3 trailer, the idea sort of fell off the earth and got sucked into a black hole. So there had to be another possibility. So they were thinking, if they toned down a bit into brown Pikmin, they could be able to burrow underground and create passages for captains and Pikmin to crawl through. A bonus to this idea is that you can draw out their paths on the gamepad using the stylus, which is very interesting, but it seems more of a DS add-on, I think. But here's the catch. You can only draw a passageway from one point to another, and there would be a certain number of those points on the map to choose from. This would restrict the player from mindlessly drawing and digging his or her way through to his or her victory willy-nilly without any thought of challenge involved. So yeah, I can imagine that. But even then, you could sort of, if there were 2 points on the map, you could sort of do the whole divide by 0 thing and make it go everywhere at once, and then it would be a really long path. But then, that's probably just going to be me, I expect. So you could pretty much think of the digging ability as a smoother and faster way to get around the maps, or maybe like the only way to get to some parts of the map at least, which would help with better time management and strategy planning, because in Pikmin 3, there is going to be a time limit. Sorry guys, but yeah, Miyamoto already confirmed it. So as far as orange/brown Pikmin go, there are my ideas, or there are their ideas. But again, the digging ability could apply to orange, to not specifically brown, but because orange and brown are both in the same family. So with all that said, let's move on to the green Pikmin. Green Pikmin. I've been wanting green Pikmin ever since I played Pikmin 2. And since that time, I came with 2 ideas for what they could possibly do. First off, I thought they would be resistant to acids because they're green, and most acids we know are a shade of green, as far as I know. As far as they know, as far as... It's in asterisks, just leave me alone. So I automatically thought, just because they're green, they would be involved with acid in some way or another. So then I began thinking of how acid as a hazard would affect the other Pikmin. Well, for starters, I was thinking naturally that acid would have a similar appearance to water, but would be green and would have a smoky, steamy vibe to it, because it's HD. If any other type besides green were to enter it, they would die instantly upon contact. Yeah, I can imagine that, or like, they can't be saved, like, they'd literally just sink. You could just, like, see, like, their, like, stems just like, oh no, because their stems can suddenly talk now. That's great Daz logic right there. Along with that, it would horribly damage the suits of the captains, who also decide that it's a good idea to step in. Now this sounds great and all, but you're probably asking yourself the question, how will the captain be able to enter the acid with the green Pikmin? Well, ScrubbyBean thought of this, and said that they could go all Pikmin 2 style on us, and add an exploration kit again, with a device for the captain's suit which would protect them from acid and prevent any of them getting hurt. Much like in Pikmin 2, there were appliances for the suit that would protect you from fire, electricity, and so on, you know what I mean, and like poison never hurt you in the first place. But then raises the possibility of acid not making it as a hazard in the 3rd game. So I thought of what green Pikmin could do if this were the case. Then I came up with the idea for them to have prickles on their skin, much like cactus, or cacti. This would allow them to get attached to an enemy when thrown, let's say a spotty bulborb for instance, and inflict more damage without needing to be shaken off, because of all the mighty prickles. there also came yet another idea from the deep, dark crooks and crevices of my mind. And that idea was to make it a tad more difficult to harvest the green Pikmin than the others. What I mean by this exactly is to not include green pellets in the game, but instead making it so the only way to harvest green Pikmin is by bringing the green onion dead enemy carcasses, giving them more of a purpose rather than just laying around and rot, which I'll admit can happen sometimes in Pikmin, because well actually they don't really rot, they stay in the onion, so most of them if you have over 100. It's over 100! So there you go. My green Pikmin ideas. The acid hazard idea would bring a whole new line of acidic enemies, such as an acid-spitting Bulborb, an acid blowhog, and so on. So on. But if acid weren't to be included, then the prickles and enemy carcass idea would be the way to go. With all that said, let's move on to the Cyan Pikmin. Oh boy, Cyan Pikmin. I have quite a few ideas for this up my sleeve for this breed. First off, they would be Ice Pikmin. Now I am aware that there are a lot of people that think that the Rock Pikmin are related to ice, but I beg to differ. I think what people are mistaking as ice were the huge white rock things containing items like golden strawberries. From what I understand, are actually crystals. This may or may not be the case, but I'm thinking they are crystals. Hey, I may be referring to the wrong thing in terms of what people think is ice, but who knows, anyway. For the sake of this private message and possibly video, if Dad yourself are covering specialty one, I'm going to assume that I'm right in that regard, so let's just say for the time being that people love things. What? People love things? It's time for the being that things people think are ice are really crystals. This would leave... I don't think I was supposed to read that bit. This would leave Cyan relating to ice as a possibility. Well, at least in my opinion. But anyway, let's get back on track. Cyan Pikmin. They would be ice. They would be resistant to ice enemies and hazards. This is great and all, but I think they could be related to the white Pikmin in terms of how the white are what they are resistant to, in which their case is poison. So if you were to take this factor to give to the Cyan Pikmin too, that would make the Cyan Pikmin Ice Pikmin, as much as they are resistant to the ice hazards around the planet. But the insanity doesn't stop there. Oh no, I couldn't let it do that. Now we all know white Pikmin are resistant to poison and are poisonous themselves. This is obvious because when Pikmin are eaten, they poison the enemy that consumed them, to kill them, right? So, this brings me back to the idea for the Cyan Pikmin. We all know the purple and pink sprays, right? From Pikmin 2? Yeah. Let's say for a minute they won't return in Pikmin 3. They're just gone now. Especially the ultra bitter spray. Now if that were the case, I guess that would make the Cyan Pikmin pretty useful, Well, I guess I should stop stalling everybody, because I personally think that the Cyan Pikmin are going to get eaten, and it will freeze the enemy that consumed them in a solid shell of ice. This could do one of two things. This could kill it completely, or trap it periodically. I'm thinking trapping periodically would be a better approach. Then that would make the Cyan Pikmin rare, wouldn't it? And also, if they're frozen in this ice thing, going back to the Rock Pikmin thing, maybe Rock Pikmin would do more damage. You can have that moment where you freeze it so much, then the Rock Pikmin shatter it. Can you imagine that? That's just be an awesome technique. Just hopefully it's not too overpowered. But yet again, this whole freeze enemy idea could potentially condone senseless Cyan Pikmin slaughter. But in my opinion, I think it would be a nice touch, because ice is cool, yo. That was lame. A few other ideas include Cyan Pikmin freezing water as they walk over it. So if you were to lead a group of them over water, they would freeze it for a period of time, making a bridge for other Pikmin to cross from shore to shore. But yet again, I'm going off of what my brain is telling me. And with this point, it would make the Cyan Pikmin make the blue Pikmin seem useless, because they can both go through water. But then I thought, in this game, the water's going to be really deep, so maybe you could have treasure that's on the bottom of the floor, so only blue Pikmin can get it. They have to go underneath the water, and then if you need to get over the water, you can either take the blue Pikmin to go round the bottom, or you can get the Cyan Pikmin to make a road of ice, and then the other Pikmin follow. So I guess it is possible to have two coloured Pikmin that can survive water, but they both do it differently, if that makes sense. Also, what many of you have been saying about the Cyan Pikmin is they remind you of the glow caps, which you saw in the caves underground in that trailer. Well, it wasn't a trailer, was it? It was just a Nintendo Direct add-on, wasn't it? So your idea was basically that it would light up the cave like the mushrooms do, and I think that's actually pretty good idea as well. Maybe the Cyan Pikmin could do both. They could freeze enemies and light up the path. I don't really know. I'm not psychic. Leave me alone. Well, there you have it. ScrubbyBean's orange, green, and Cyan Pikmin ideas. This private message was pretty long, so I'm hoping to get a slice of slack cake for me. Oh, and also, Daz, be sure to ask your parents. Ask your parents. Be sure to ask your parents if this becomes a video what they think of my ideas. And also, throw in your own thoughts as well. I would love to hear what other people whatever Pikmin want to say, whatever Pikmin have to say on the matter. Anyway, I hope what I have typed into this message is interesting, and I certainly hope that you cover this message in a future video, because since you covered without knowing the edit I made onto the new Pikmin section of the Pikmin 3 article, I really want others to hear my thoughts on the matter. Well, with that, thanks for reading, Daz, a Pikmin fan, ScrubbyBean. ScrubbyBean? I can't read names anymore. And that's basically the end of the message. So, I guess that's the end of the video, pretty much. If you have any other further ideas that you can put onto this, if you haven't put it on the other video already, which I probably have already seen, you can put it in this comment video. Isn't that nice? So, I guess it's the end of the video. So, my name's been Daz. You didn't really care. And I'll see you in a bit.